I'm Gary Erickson.
And I'm Tyler Hogue.
We became best buds through the heavy music scene.
And now we're doing a podcast, breaking down our favorite bands, albums, and shows.
This is All Consuming Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show, the podcast.
What's going on?
Today we're going to be talking about Demon Hunter, finally.
Oof. We've had so many people request us to finally do Demon Hunter, and it's happening.
Yeah, and there's so many albums to pick from, and everyone says, do this one, do that one. But we chose to do The World is a Thorn because it came out around the time Tyler and I met each other.
Yeah.
And so we both listened to this album together and have a lot of memories with this album.
And Gary, I gotta get something off my chest a little bit. I get a lot of hate. A year ago, we did our first Christmas special, right?
Yeah.
And there was a Demon Hunter song that was chosen. The Wind?
Yep.
And I said I didn't like it. I'm not a huge ballad fan when Demon Hunter does their ballads. And ever since then, every single person associates me with hating Demon Hunter.
Weird.
Not just disliking, hating.
Yeah, yeah.
There's people on Discord and Instagram I dare you to make a Demon Hunter episode with Tyler. I dare you. See what he says.
So are you saying that you like Demon Hunter? Are you just indifferent?
Not only do I like them, I really like them. Do I like... Okay, but... And you'll see. You'll see what I like and what I don't like. You might even be able to guess the songs that I really like from this album and the songs that I hit skip every single time.
Yeah, I know that you're a fan of Ryan's scream, not his clean singing. So I already know what songs you're like, don't care, and what songs you like.
And I say I like them because I do. I really do. I listen to Demon Hunter. They're on my playlist, stuff like that. But I'm no Gary, part of the Blessed Resistance fan. Let's be... Gary right now is showing his shirt. And I knew it right when he popped on here. I was like, of course you're wearing that shirt. So what is this Blessed Resistance that you're a part of?
It's a lot different nowadays than what it used to be. Now it's like a subscription service that Demon Hunter does. And you get unreleased songs and special access to merchandise and stuff like that. And it's like a street team with a monthly subscription. And I think that's what it was supposed to be back when I got this shirt. But I got this when the triptych came out. And I got a fancy little button and a patch and, other stuff like that. But that was a one-time thing, and you got access to their website.
Right.
And I remember when we saw these guys in concert, I was wearing this shirt. We have a picture on our Instagram of...
We were babies, man. It was 10 years ago? More?
I look at college kids now, and I'm like, did we look like that? Were we children?
Of course we did.
But I remember being in the mosh pit, and there's a husband and wife in there who were about our age, early 20s. And they were wearing the same shirt, and it was immediate high fives, I think they came down from... Yeah, I think they came down from Canada to see them in Spokane. But, yeah, so I'm wearing a Blessed Resistance shirt.
Dude, and, we have to, I think you have to say this, too. No matter how you feel about Demon Hunter, they probably have the most gnarly, awesome logo of any band.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. And the different, kind of variations they have on their logo, they're all pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you see it, that's a Demon Hunter logo.
Yeah, dude, right. So crazy. I don't know if you're going to talk about this or not, but, so awesome and cool that, Navy SEALs wore patches of their logo. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, yeah.
The dude that,
SEAL Team 6, yeah.
Yeah, the dude that supposedly killed Bin Laden was I was wearing a Demon Hunter patch when I did it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. People spray paint them on their tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to talk about that, so thanks for bringing it up. Good job.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Gary, are they your favorite band? Is Demon Hunter your favorite band?
You know, if you look at statistics, all data points to yes.
What do you mean? What?
Like, so Spotify always does their, end of the year wrap up thing.
Yeah.
And no joke, every year I'm in the top 0.5% of listeners. And I'm like, how is this possible? I don't listen to them that much. But even like Last FM and stuff that tracks your listens, they're like, Gary, you listen to these guys a lot. And I think it's just they're an easy band that I like pretty much all their songs, and I can just press play and turn off my head for like hours. And so like when I'm at work, it's really easy to listen. But I think if you asked me that question 10 years ago, I'd say, yeah, solid yes. They're my favorite. Yeah. But nowadays, I'm going to say no.
Dude, and it's like this weird, like, we took two different paths to get to the same music. You know what I mean? Like, you started in, like, the Christian side of, like, rock music and worked your way up, and Demon Hunter was on that path.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, like, for me, when I started getting heavy music, like, I had, like, the pop-punk, like, secular, Blink-182, went to, like, Slipknot and Korn and System of a Down. And even though Demon Hunter kind of could be in that genre, they weren't on the path. You know? And by the time I got into the Christian, like, heavy scene, it's As I Lay Dying, Haste the Day, and you could say they're not really that genre of metalcore.
No. Some people would call them rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's some songs you could definitely call rock. You know, I almost feel like biker metal sometimes even. You know, like,
yeah, there's
get my biker jacket out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I think some people, it hits like, I think that's why Demon Hunter is a great gateway band.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of like metal, like the root genre, I'll call it, of metal sound. Yeah. And so they get people like my dad who to be interested in them. And then they also have a lot of rock songs. And man, Ryan Clark is in like every band. Like he's featured on every band's like track somewhere. Like he's involved in some way. And so there's like all these like routes to pull them into Demon Hunter. And so I think they're a great gateway band to get from rock to really heavy stuff.
Yeah. And I think The World is a Thorn. I 99% sure this was the first album, Demon Hunter album I heard.
Really? Like heard? Like
heard.
Flat out?
Flat out.
You're like, who's Demon Hunter?
Collapsing might have been the first Demon Hunter song I ever heard.
Wow.
And you know who showed me Demon Hunter?
Is it me?
It's you. You know, and like, it's so weird though, like looking back, because then you showed it to me, and then you probably showed me everything back, and you're like, hey, you don't think they're heavy? Listen to this, or whatever. And we listened to the Triptych, and like they do have like some super heavy songs.
Yeah,
like by definition of heavy, very heavy, and Ryan Clark's vocals are awesome, right? But they flirt in this other like side of rock, butt rock. Dare I say? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get that, because when I first listened to them, the Triptych wasn't out yet, but Summer of Darkness was, and like anytime he was singing, I was like, "That's my favorite part." If they would just do that for the whole song, they'd be like my favorite band. The music is on point, but the screaming I just don't like. And now, I mean, I really like Ryan Clark's vocals, like. I like his singing too and his screaming on anything, but like going back and like re-listening to like the first two albums, I'm like, man, this was so good. What's wrong with me? Like, why did I not like this? I guess my palate wasn't ready for that kind of metal, but
gosh, yeah. And I'm the other way around. When I heard this, I was like, man, this band is awesome. Why do they sing so much? Why can I hear his vocals? But I don't know, maybe I've also matured musically too, but like looking back at this album, like really listening to this all the way through again, the songs that I used to not fully like because they sang a lot, I can kind of listen to them. I could sort of listen to them.
You don't skip them right away?
I wait like 30 seconds. I'm like, okay, there it is. Got my dose of Ryan Clark's vocals for his choruses, and I'm good to go.
So let's talk about your actual first time listening to this album.
Yeah.
So what was your first impression? I'm like, Tyler, it's March 9th, 2010. I'm sure I drove somewhere and picked it up, or it was mailed to my house or something, right? And I was married for 5 months. A little longer than that. like 7 months.
Yeah.
And so we were living right across the parking lot from you in the married dorms on campus.
Yep.
And I'm sure I was like, it's here. Let's listen.
Yes.
So what was your initial impression? Your first time hearing it?
Okay, so the first time we ever met, you were listening to Haze Today's first album, Burning Bridges. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I mean, that album was in there. And like that music was what I was really into. And so when Demon Hunter comes out, the World of Thorn comes out, we listen to this album. I don't think I like it right away. Mm-hmm. I would say when I first listened to it, the song that stood out to me that I liked the most, which I don't like the most anymore, was Life War.
Okay.
Like, because it was heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you want to know my favorite song on the album?
Sure. Let me know.
So I wrote a top 5. I wrote a top 5. I wrote a top 5, and then I put a number 20. I know there's not 20.
How about you do this? You tell me the 5 songs, not in order, and I will guess your favorite.
Oh, let's go. Okay, so I got right here. But if I got to make sure I don't read these in order then. So, all right, I'm just going to give it to you.
I'll close my eyes.
Okay, Collapsing, Tie This Around Your Neck, Descending Upon Us, Life War, and The World is a Thorn.
Easy.
Okay, what's my number 1?
Tie This Around Your Neck.
Wrong.
No!
That's my third favorite.
Wow. All right, what's your favorite?
My favorite is The World is a Thorn.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. My favorite.
Know, if you were a nerd back in the day, like me, and you played Rock Band, you could have bought this song and played it on Rock Band.
The World is a Thorn?
Yeah.
Oh. Was it Collapsing?
And Collapsing, both.
I did know that they were on Rock Band. Like, they had their rights for the Rock Band thing. That's cool.
Yep.
I really like it. And there's a couple reasons why I like it. The galloping, I think they do a really good job of when they gallop. It's like biker metal intro, like thrash metal, and they kind of have that galloping stuff. But just his vocals, like how angry, and he says like, won't bow to man, won't bow to government. Like, I love that part. I think listening through, like after you show them to me, I think that that song stood out the most, and it's been my favorite since I've listened, man.
It's awesome.
So what else? What's my second favorite? What's my, of those 5 I gave you, what's my number 5?
You think I can remember the 5th? All 5 of them? I'm going to guess Collapsing.
I didn't even say, Collapsing's 4. So here's in order. The World is a Thorn, Descending Upon Us, I love for a different reason. Tie This Around Your Neck, Collapsing, and Life War. And then, like I said, I wrote number 20, even though there's not 20 tracks on here. Do you
Does that mean it's your least favorite? Is that what you're trying to say?
Bottom of the barrel. And I know it's your favorite. I know it's one of your favorites.
Uh-oh.
Driving
what is it?
Nails.
Oh, man, dude. Oh.
Dude, I can't, man. I just can't. And I know I am going to be hated on for that. Dude, I don't care about
That's like a top 10 Demon Hunter track.
I know.
For me.
Because you're always like, you literally will play it, and when it gets to that lame string part at the end or whatever, you're man, I can't do it.
Oh, man.
I tried, even for this.
I'm
like,
heartbroken
I really tried.
right now. I really am. Like,
I knew it was one of your
debating
favorites.
like starting a new podcast with someone else right now.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, how about you? What's your favorite?
So I'll start with my first impression and then move to favorite.
Yeah.
So when this first came out, I was obsessed with it. Like,
yes,
I probably listened to it every day for a month, nonstop. Nothing else, only this. And I have to say, a Demon Hunter album has not done that to me since this. But I can remember, so I got a minor in visual communication design that I do absolutely nothing with. But I took it because I liked graphic design. I'm terrible at it, by the way. But it was fun. I liked learning it and seeing all the ways that Photoshop and stuff works. But I remember being up in the computer lab above the pub.
Yeah.
It's not a pub for our listeners.
It's not a drinking pub.
It's Pierce Union Building. Or Pence?
Pence Union Building, yep.
Yeah. So there's a lab on the very top floor, and just to get like away from my apartment, because I had this really annoying neighbor named Tyler who was like constantly interrupting my school.
Never.
No. I'm just kidding. It's at home. There's a lot of distractions, so it was a great place to like, sit down and do all my work. But I had my headphones in and I jammed this album on repeat, probably like 3 times a day up there. I mean, like 3 hours straight. And around that time, I was really getting into Magic the Gathering with our buddy Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, like, this album just came out, and Glenn got me hooked on Magic. And so he'd come over, and I put this album on, and we'd play Magic and listen to this. So when I hear this album, like, I get these, like, deep nostalgia vibes of Magic and, like, working up in that computer lab, like, all by myself, focused on graphic design stuff.
Magic the Gathering. I do kind of remember that. I don't even understand what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, like cards.
You'd walk in and you'd be like, nope.
Yeah, like, you guys playing Dungeons and Dragons in here, or what? Like, what are we
Close enough, all right.
That's funny. Okay, I do remember that.
My favorite songs. I only wrote down 4 that I like, but I'll do the same. You can pick which one you think is my favorite.
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
Driving Nails, Life War, Collapsing, and Just Breathe.
Just Breathe's your favorite?
No, but it's pretty close. I had to debate. I think
it's a really good one too.
Collapsing is my favorite.
Okay.
I mean, I hate that it's so catchy and that everybody likes it. I really do. But if you take away like the world's opinion and others' opinions, like, I think it's a super well done song, super catchy. And as soon as that intro starts, I mean, you just know what it is.
Yes. And it's a good song. I do love Collapsing because it kind of is in between their ballads and their heavy stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. It's not necessarily.
It gets real heavy and it gets real light.
Like, yes. And so that is cool.
Yeah. So my least favorites, you can guess. I picked Shallow Water.
Yep.
Because of those high guitars. Song's great besides those. It just gets old when you hear it on repeat for 3 hours a day for a month. Feel As Though You Could. Blood in the Tears. Sorry, that's a showdown thing. Blood in the Tears. And Desire the Pain.
Interesting.
You know what my least favorite is of those?
Blood in the Tears?
No.
What?
I actually had a hard time picking. I had to listen to all 4 of them like over and over, but I think Desire the Pain.
Really?
Yeah. I like all of them now. I think I just listened to this album so much that like whenever those songs come out, I'm like, I fully know everything. I'm done. Like,
sure.
I don't know.
And with Demon Hunter albums in general, and this is where I get the hate. Like, I don't know. No, there isn't, for me. An album where I'm like, this is a masterpiece.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. There are a ton of songs on the Triptych that I like. There are a ton of songs on Summer of Darkness even that I like. There's a ton of songs on The Rose of Thorn that I love. I don't know if it's perfect, though.
Yeah.
And that's where people are like, oh, Tyler, blasphemy.
They're all perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. I think I I don't think Demon Hunter has a perfect album for me either. But they have a lot of like really perfect songs. The closest one could be, well, in high school I'd say the Triptych, hands down. In fact, there was probably a time I would have said that it was perfect. Not anymore. Don't know why.
It's the closest for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say either this one, The World is a Thorn, or Extremist. So,
the thing though is this their heaviest album?
Depends what you mean by heavy. So
musically.
Another reason I really like this album, I will answer your question in a minute.
Okay.
This is the only album where their guitarist was Ryan Helm. And he was from a band that I was super into at the time called The Syndicate. Their album cover is like a skull with a crown on it, and it has a lot of this like vibe, this deep sound.
Yeah.
You know, with the guitars and drums. It's very bassy and like hits hard.
Yeah.
So I think maybe sonically, right? Like if you heard this in a concert, this would be their heaviest album, I think.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I mean, because you would say they don't scream the most on this album compared to other albums, but like musically, like instrumentally, maybe we could even say it is the heaviest because some songs go freaking hard, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fit for a King's Dark Skies, you know?
Yeah,
like it's not the heaviest music out there, but like when you see them live, and there's just like that sound, that wall of sound that hits you, it's heavy, you know, hits hard.
I think their heaviest songs on that album, Shattered Glass.
You think that's their heaviest song?
Oh my gosh,
heavier than Backbreaker?
Yeah, for sure.
Or Tower of Pain?
100%.
Well, that's gonna be another episode.
Dude, Shattered Glass gets me going. Like it's pretty heavy, man. Okay, back to Demon Hunter. We saw these dudes live.
We sure
right
did.
In our infancy of friendship.
You know what's funny, Tyler? Okay, so we live 4 hours or so from Seattle.
Yeah.
How many times do you think people think we see Demon Hunter?
A lot. Because they play in Seattle all the time.
Yeah, and well, Demon Hunter like hardly tours.
Right.
Right, but they play in Seattle like, I don't know, once in a blue moon. But
when they tour, they play there usually.
Yeah, I've only seen Demon Hunter once in my life.
And it was in Spokane.
Yeah. I bought tickets once to see them in Seattle. No one was going to go with me. Not even my girlfriend, who's now my wife. I was
going to play
Central,
Driving
actually.
Nails. I know they're going to play Driving Nails. I can't go.
Yeah, and like if blah blah blah, anything that could go wrong went wrong. Like I had a big project due that week. It was my first year of college. I was behind on math homework, and I had like no money. So if I drove there, I had to come back that day. But I already bought the ticket, and I think I still have the ticket somewhere.
Really,
it's like a concert that I wanted to go to that I never did.
That you never
and
did.
Like I think Becoming the Archetype opened for them. And I've never seen Becoming the Archetype. And so I look at this ticket stub whenever I find my old stuff, and I'm like, should have gone. Like, what was I thinking?
Oh.
It's just school. It's just grades and education.
Wait, Becoming the Archetype was there?
Yeah.
Dude, and you never saw them?
No, it was like Becoming the Archetype, Living Sacrifice, Demon Hunter.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would have been sick, man.
Yeah.
Why didn't you... I'm just kidding. I can't believe you didn't go.
I know. I didn't even know you at the time, so
no.
I couldn't take anyone. All my roommates were... One guy I didn't know. And then I had two other buddies from high school that we all went to the same college. And we're like, you guys want to move into these cheap dorms together? It's like 4 guys. You like share a room. And like it has like a communal middle living room thing. And like...
Yeah.
Anyway, it was weird, but yep, sucks.
Dang. But you did get at least see Demon Hunter, And for that show, and we might have talked about, I think we did talk about with the War of Ages episode, but with that show, I was going to see As I Lay Dying. Like, I knew Demon Hunter. You just introduced them to me. Definitely knew some of their songs.
I'm pretty sure you were going for Bless the Fall, isn't it?
Yeah. I did know if you Bless the Fall.
Didn't you have
songs,
your white
dude.
belt and your hair pushed over to the side?
Dude, they have some great songs, man. Stop hating on Bless the Fall.
I remember at that time, there's a lot of drama around Bless the Fall.
If they were
it was
Christian,
like this tour.
weren't.
Yeah, because it was like this tour.
Yeah.
And you like look on MySpace, right, to see the tour videos and like people's comments, and everyone's like, no, they're not a Christian. They flipped off the crowd. And like they have like a picture of them flipping off the crowd. And I remember like being really judgmental about them, you know,
because
of the
that
show. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch them and see if they're Christians or not up there, you know, just being so judgmental.
Then they put on a good show and we're like, heck yeah, man.
Yeah, they were fun. Their Wall of Death was probably like one of the best Walls of Death.
Bless the Fall. Emo Bless the Fall did a Wall of Death at the Knitting Factory in Spokane. And it was really fun and cool.
Yeah, I wasn't in it. I was like, oh.
We were watching. You do you, boo. Like, that was cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was really going for As I Lay Dying. I was so into them during that time. Stoked about War of Ages. And I was stoked about Demon Hunter, but I didn't, like, fully, like, have the fandom. Like, you were going for Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you were going to see Demon Hunter, and everything else was cherry on the cake.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, War of Ages I wanted to see, and they opened the show.
Yeah.
I was stoked to see them. So I liked As I Lay Dying at the time, but I only liked them for the An Ocean Between Us album.
Yeah.
And when The Powerless Rise, I wasn't into it that much when that came out.
Right.
And that's what they played at the show. But still really cool to see them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, looking back, I think that was... It's interesting when I go to shows, because I'll either pay really close attention to the band and, like, not be involved in the music.
Right.
But I feel like I do that when I really know the band. Because, like, I want to watch Demon Hunter play. I want to see War of Ages play. And when As I Lay Dying went up, I was like, yeah, let's run in the pit. I'm following you, Donnie. Let's go.
Donnie. That's funny. Dude. Yeah. And I remember As I Lay Dying, yeah, we were definitely involved in the pit. They were the headliners, so they played longer. I remember Demon Hunters being like, it was really good, but I remember being like, that was it?
Yeah, it was short. All of them were short.
Yeah.
Like, because when we did the War of Ages episode, we found the track list, and it was like 6 songs. Yeah. I was like, dude, that's so short. It might have been less than that 6. But they all did that, and then As I Lay Dying was also kind of short. Where nowadays, we're like August Burns Red will do an entire album playthrough, plus 5 or 6 songs at the end, dude. You know, or in between. And I don't know, I feel like back then, maybe it was a weekday or something.
I just think they had a lot of, I mean, that happens sometimes with opening bands. They just have this amount of slot of time, and you got 6 songs, and you know they're not doing their encore, and then the headliner has 10 or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and Demon Hunter definitely only played their hits, you know?
Yeah.
I remember when Not Ready to Die came on, and I was like, this is my song. And I'm like standing there screaming and singing with people, and yeah, good times.
Trying to think of what I remember the most on there. They probably played Undying, right? No.
I'm sure they did.
They did. I think that one. And that
they probably opened with that, dude. You know, with the choir singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. So I like to watch bands as they play. I've said that several times.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was weird how like Ryan Clark, I don't know, presents himself on the stage.
What do you mean?
Right? So you got like Tim Lambesis, who's pretty similar to Jake Lurs, where they walk back and forth. They like step on their little monitor boxes and, you know, with one leg and scream out at the crowd, right? And like physically into it, right? They're moving around a lot.
Big circle pig, go crazy.
Spinning the microphones, jumping. Yeah. And I just remember like most of the time he'd just stand there with the mic for the screaming parts. I think the singing parts he walked. Or like he'd turn around to the drums occasionally and like lean on like the drum stand and that's it. But the way he screamed, you know, like his lips were pursed together instead of like really wide. And I think that's because that's how he growled. He made like a tunnel with his mouth, so to speak.
I think he was kind of over the mic, you know, and he did stay there. Maybe he did have his foot like on like an amp or something. Yeah. But he was just in one spot, and he had like a biker jacket cut off on.
Yep.
Maybe.
Totally. Yeah. He
which
had
was
his
pretty
battle
cool.
vest on. His metal. Yeah.
I'll tell you who of all the people in the band, of who I watched the most, their drummer.
Yogi.
Yeah. Like, I think Demon Hunter's drumming's pretty underrated.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I absolutely love it. And sometimes when they get going, like, and it's kind of that biker metal, right? Like, that's what I think is the biker metal part of it, is the drums and the fast, just like thrash guitars. But I thought the Yogi was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. I liked meeting him after the show. I mean, I meet him. I was like, hey, you're really cool. Hi. And he's like,
I like you.
Yeah. But I remember like thinking he was way taller than what he is in real life.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's like just as tall as me. And I was like, I've always pictured him as like this guy who's like 7 feet tall.
But he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Right. So you see him as like a big dude. You think he's super tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we met Ryan Clark.
Yeah. We're like, wait, can we take a picture, please?
And we did.
We did.
That was cool, man. Yeah. Now, I thought they put on a really good show. I think I said this last time. I vividly remember the guitarist for War of Ages filling in and playing for Demon Hunter.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like
I think I remember you bringing this up for something else.
War of Ages, probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like, I remember him, like, they're like, yep, he's filling in for us, because something with their guitarist. And in my mind, I'm like, how tough would that be? But he's just that talented.
The other thing is, so they have two guitarists, right? Their lead guitarist was Patrick Judge.
Yeah.
And he's from the Showdown.
Yeah.
So I think this was his first time being in Demon Hunter after the Showdown went away. So that might be part of the biker metal stuff.
For sure. That makes a lot of sense because they're definitely that.
Yeah. And, you know, Patrick Judge is still the guitarist. He's been there since this album. I don't know if this was his first one or not. I think it was, though. And that might be part of the big sound change, besides Ryan Helm being on there. But if Ryan Helm didn't continue, maybe he just didn't tour with them either, and they needed him to fill. So I could see that if he was in, you know.
Yeah, and maybe it was a planned thing, and he practiced it and learned the songs, and he did it.
Oh, yeah, maybe he was the tour guy. Who knows?
Yeah. That's cool, though.
Have I mentioned to you, so there's this guy on our Discord server. His name's Chris on there. And he was actually at this show.
Really?
We were talking about. And after the War of Ages episode, he was talking about it. And he's like, and I think I remember him saying that he remembers something like that, where Tim Lambesis came in for the War of Ages song.
Yes.
So
yeah, that was my big thing,
we debated this like hard, and we couldn't find any evidence. And so he kind of remembers something like that too, but we're still looking for that concrete evidence, you know.
That he came in and did vocals for Desire.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of people at that show that now, like, we know, like, the dude, the pit boss that baptized me, he was there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we've talked about this before. There's this guy, so when I was saved, this guy that, he ended up baptizing me after I was saved. He was really into music, too, you know, metal music, too, and into all the stuff. He came probably for As Lay Dying. I didn't really know he was going to be there because I was at college, and he's from the Tri-Cities, but he was there, and I was like, yo, what's up? That's so awesome, man. I'm so glad to see you. And then I look over when the music starts, and he is just crowd killing. Like, the dude that literally, like, baptized me and prayed with me, like, is going around and just mauling people. And we're like, we have to stay away from him. And he ended up at other shows too that we went to. Just he was there, and we're like, well, there he is, punching a kid in the face. Like, oh man, and Isaac was there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He said, I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure about this story. He was so sick, right? But this is like pre-COVID, way pre-COVID. So
hold on, Isaac from our Christmas episode.
Yes, so Isaac was on our Christmas episode last year. He was supposedly there, super sick. This is pre-COVID, but
he's getting everybody sick.
Not missing Demon Hunter.
Oh boy,
because he is a Demon Hunter super fan.
Yep.
Right, like he is all about him. He's got tattoo and all that stuff. That's the first thing I noticed. So when I went to church and I saw Isaac, I saw his tattoo. And I have this weird thing that I just take pictures of people's tattoos without them knowing. I recently did it with Gary. Saw this guy in front of me at the movie theater, and he had a close your eyes tattoo on his leg. Just snapped a picture of it. Right? Talked to him a little bit before, and then he turned around, and I was like, and I zoomed in, took a picture. The guy I was with was like, what are you doing? Yeah. I got to put it on Discord, dude. But anyways, I took a picture of Isaac's tattoo, his Demon Hunter tattoo, and I sent it to Gary. And I was like, dude,
guys, I get so many people's skins as texts.
It's like, dude, this guy's a Demon Hunter fan. And like in my mind, I don't know at the time, I was just like, oh, Demon Hunter, they're cool, but they're not that big in my mind. But they are big. Like there's a huge following. Like even this album, like got pretty high on the Christian metal charts and stuff like that.
Yeah, nominated for Dove Awards and all that stuff.
Right, like they're super big, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, another Demon Hunter fan. Gary's going to think it's really cool.
Yeah,
and
one of six. Like... They probably already know each other.
And you're probably just like, cool, man. Yeah, he likes Demon Hunter.
Yeah, I remember running into him when I was visiting you guys. We went out to eat, and he was like walking out as we were walking in. I saw his tattoo and like shook hands or whatever, and I was like, I already knew that I liked the guy. And then we sat down, and you're like, "That's the guy, Gary. That's the guy who had the tattoo that I texted you." And I'm like, I saw. It's like on his. Isn't it on his arm or is it on his leg? He's got a few tattoos, but
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
sorry, Isaac. We're talking about you if you're listening to this.
Yeah, and he came. He said he sat in like so. There's like at the Knitting Factory, it's like a smaller pit, and then there's like a bar area, and then a bar above, and like a second level
balcony.
Yeah, he was in the bar area on the first floor, and he said he just sat there the entire time because he wasn't feeling great. But he went. He actually went. He pushed through and went, and saw Demon Hunter.
Good. Was that his only time?
I think so. Like you said, they don't just go on crazy tours. They're family dudes now, and stuff. And
yep, and they got other side projects and jobs and.
So, what would you say is the best equivalent of a secular Demon Hunter? Like, that was
this is the opposite. Question. This is usually people say, "What's the Christian version of?"
Because that's what people do all the time, right? Like, you get people to come in and like, so like if I really like Infant Annihilator, like, what am I gonna like in the Christian scene?
Sure. The secular version of Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
I hate to say this.
I hope you say what I think you're gonna say.
You know I'm gonna say it.
I hope so.
5 Finger Death Punch.
Oh no, Gary!
Yeah.
Stop it.
They both have that clean singing with the lower register. They both do the screams. Newer Demon Hunter is more similar than older.
Okay, I can give you that. I didn't think you were going to use this moment to just completely.
You talked about how you get a bad rap. You talk about how you get a bad rap. Like, dude, I mentioned to you one time, hey, they're not that bad. Look at this song. It's a good song. And you're just like, Gary loves 5 Finger Death Punch. I mean,
you literally compare them to your favorite band. Right now, you just said they sound like your favorite band.
Yeah. My biggest problem with them, though, is their lifestyle and their lyrics.
Sure.
Which greatly detracts from my favorite, right?
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to say. And I if you look at YouTube, there'll be people saying like, "Oh, a Christian Five Finger Death Punch" in the comments. You know, and I think it's a very easy, like, knee-jerk reaction to say that's who they sound like.
For me, like, I can totally see that, especially like you said, their newer stuff. But I really hear Slipknot.
So early, totally, and that I think that's why they were made, right? If you listen to the Labeled podcast about them, they were made to be a Christian Slipknot for that first album.
Interesting.
But I think they were heavier and better than Slipknot on their first album. You heard it here, folks.
I'm looking at Gary without responding. Because I really like Slipknot. But I will say this. Like, so the first song on The World is a Thorn is Descending Upon Us. And he does this kind of talk, Ryan does, where it's like, it's hard to explain. But it's not a whisper, it's not a sing, it's not a scream. He just kind of talks like this, in like a lower register,
like
and the
Five
music's
Finger
going
Death
on.
Punch?
No. This is
Like
way
Slipknot?
more of a Slipknot thing, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's a song on, it might be this album or the next one, that they do the same kind of thing. It might be Summer of Darkness, where he's like talking all low. And it's just like that Five Finger Death Punch song from the very first album, where like he talks about like the chalk on the street outlined as a guy who got killed or whatever, and that really like low movie theater action voice, you know, like,
and guitars are kind of still going around him, kind of chugging.
Yeah.
Like, I really heard it in the ending of Descending Upon Us, and I was like, oh, that's Corey Taylor from Slipknot. Like that's kind of that type of music, and so sometimes I get Slipknot vibes. Other times, like you said, like, I guess that's not secular, but
dude,
like
and I think that's just that genre that you were not interested in when you first heard them, was this like mainstream metal done Christian.
Yeah.
And not even metal, right? It's new metal.
New metal. But I was really into new metal. I would say, like, one of my favorite bands of all time is System of a Down. And that, like, kind of fits in that new metal area, right?
Yeah.
Gary is so disappointed with me for saying that.
I just don't like hearing you say that.
But, like, I think if I would have heard them during that time, during my high school days, right, I think I would have liked them a lot. But I didn't. Because I think they were kind of on that, they were Christian. Like, they weren't in my path. Kind of like I was saying. They were totally in your path to heavy music. Like, you had to go through Demon Hunter to get to Haste the Day, sort of. Yeah. If that makes sense. And so, I don't know. Like, I probably would have. And then I would like them so much that I would look back on them and have that nostalgic feeling, I think, like you do, where I'm like, oh, gosh, I really like these songs. Not saying I don't like them. But, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't know anyone else I would say. Biker metal.
I gotta say, I don't really listen to secular music that much.
Me either.
Like,
yeah.
I pursue the Christian heavy music scene.
Right.
And when secular stuff is thrust upon me, or I accidentally discover, here's an example, the band 4 Years Strong, not Christian. Yeah. I'd never heard of them. Someone on some Facebook group said, hey, here's a really great album that came out in 2020 called Brain Pain by 4 Years Strong. And they're like, if you like heavier pop punk, you're going to like them. And I just thought, let's see what this guy's talking about, just to see if I can trust this person.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and man, it's like one of my favorite albums right now. Like, and it's not Christian in any way, shape, or form, and the dudes aren't either. And like, so it's stuff like that where I didn't actively go looking. Although I guess I kind of did, didn't I? Someone showed them to me, I'll say. And so it's hard for me to relate a Christian band to a secular when I don't have that secular knowledge.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like me with older Christian stuff. Like, I heard about Living Sacrifice well after their prime. You know what I mean?
Who's to say their prime's not now?
True. Yeah.
I mean, they haven't done anything in like, I don't know, 7 years maybe? 6 years? But they did go to Furnace Fest.
You could say Living Sacrifice is another band that kind of is in this Demon Hunter.
Yeah, their later stuff, their newer stuff. I mean, yeah, totally. Yeah, in the Christian world, you could probably name a bunch.
True. You know, it'll be interesting diving into all these songs and saying what they're about, because one thing I will say is a lot of their songs they're about God, right? Like, or the Christian.
They have
life.
Christian perspective. Yeah.
Yes. You know, and I don't think I fully knew that 100%. And so diving into some of these, you know, looking at it, it's like, okay. I think you grow more appreciation for bands. I think if you like read their lyrics, and like, wow, they're really stand in their faith and stand up for what they believe in. And so, yeah,
I'm looking forward to get into it too. Because
sure.
I don't think, for how much I've listened to this, I don't think I've ever read the lyrics for every song.
Did the deep dive.
Yeah, because it's different when like you listen and you hear them say it. But sometimes when they sing, they'll like split a verse or split like a thought in half kind of thing. But when you read along and you really get it, it's like, I don't know, it's like watching a movie with the subtitles on. It just clicks better, you know, reading along and hearing.
So Gary and I both, I don't know if this is like wrong. I know some people hate it, but we both listen to, or when we watch TV or movies, we put subtitles on. So we read along with the dialogue as it's happening. And if you don't have it on there, you can't hear what's on the TV anymore. That's how much we rely on these subtitles.
Yeah, Jen and I went to watch Spider-Man, and I was like, I can't hear them. Where's the words?
Yeah, and I know some people hate it, but now it's just like, it's ingrained in me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's totally true. If you're following along with the lyrics, like, I love how Spotify has it now to where most songs have lyrics on your phone, right? You can just like look at it. And you're following along, you're like, oh my gosh, that's what it says, and that's what it means. Yeah, even though you knew that's what it said. Right? But then you're just reading through and you're like, oh, this is awesome.
Totally.
Sweet, dude.
If only. So that wraps up our discussion of Demon Hunter, The World is a Thorn.
Yeah.
So thanks for our patrons for supporting us.
Absolutely.
And if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, you can buy us a cup of coffee by becoming a patron, or you could buy your own cup of coffee now.
Yeah.
And by being a patron, you'll have early access to our episodes. There's private channels and roles available on Discord and any bonus content that we have.
Dude, and bonus content, this episode was recorded on video. So you get to see our faces if you're a patron, which is pretty awesome.
That's right.
You get to see my lovely face and Gary's not so lovely face.
Beard.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's not nice. Yeah, and we also put stuff like teasers and updates on the episode as we're editing, stuff like that. So, yeah. Keep an eye out for our deep dive episode coming soon.
That's right. Thanks for the support, guys. Peace.
Thank you for listening.